Hi everybody, it's Suzanne in Ohio. I wanted to bring you up to date on my project for those of you that are interested. Um, and let's start with this in case somebody didn't see it from the beginning, and I'll go quick here. I'm working on this, what will be a journal cover for sure now, and I'll probably use it for my Journal of Stitchery. I had done one other page with a wreath on it and a Baltimore Oriole. And I wanted to try another wreath, and I ended up doing wisteria and this bluebird. And my background here is some alcohol ink dyed lace, like tablecloths, kind of cotton stretchy stuff that I had spritzed, and I loved that, and the colors went good. And I made this little placket here, sort of. Um, it is on some quilting pieces, and I embroidered the name. And then I like my journal covers wide so they can wrap around the outside edges of the pages. So I want to put something on this whole, what will be, the spine will be here, the back will be here, and the rest of it will lap over the pages and tuck inside. And the closure will be something that you tie over top of it. So I came up with this idea. I did some lavender and daisies. And if you look close, I don't know if you can see it or not, the markings from my heat disappearing pen are still on there. And so I put a pocket right on top of that. See, it's just plain right now, and the pocket will lay right here, come up above the edge or the flowers. And I put another piece of this same stretchy tablecloth alcohol ink dyed right there. And I like the semblance of it, like it's the ground and messy and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to put something here. And so I decided on bluebird feathers. And what I'll do is I painted 3 this morning, just to get my hand in it. And I decided to use one that I've already cut away. I'll show you in a minute. But I'll use these somewhere in the journal. Now, my goal was to come up with a feather that I liked so that I could do this long and short stitch, and it's like you're looking at the ground with a bird feather laying on the ground. So what I did was I'm going to use this little feather, and I'm going to do it in the stump work the same as I did my mushroom. It's a type of stump work. Come to find out, as I'm learning more and more every day, there's a lot of types of stump work, and I'm sure this one is very, very elementary, and I'm just learning it. But I thought you might want to see how it was done, because this is how I did my mushroom. So I had the feather painted on a small piece of canvas, real lightweight, and I just stitched it down onto this Pellon foundation so that I could stretch it in the embroidery hoop. And I have here a piece of wire, very thin florist type wire, just crafty stuff that you get at the craft store. And I am in the process of just starting to stitch it down. Now I'm going to show you a couple stitches here. I hope you can see them. I've already put about 4 stitches right here. And all I've done is I come up with my needle right at the edge of the image. I make sure my wire is on the side that I want it to be. And then I'm just going to take a stitch over top like you're couching it. And what's the first thing that happened? My needle come unthreaded. I've got something else here to show you too, so I got it all mixed up. Let me see if I can get this back out. Now, I've got 2 strands of thread just for the couching. And while I'm threading this needle, there it goes, I'll say that I only have 2 strands of floss. I don't want it too thick around the edge. Hey, what do I know? But that's what worked for me. And I want to come right back up and get back in real close to that same hole. And I will go all the way around the edge of this image. Hold on, I got a little tangle here. I'll go all the way around this image and couch this wire all the way around. Now, don't ask me what I'm going to do when I come back down here to this. I don't even think that's wide enough for two pieces of wire to follow that little feather vein. But I'll do something. And then the whole process, what they tell you to do, after you couch it all the way around and come back down. And by the way, I found out no need to try to get your shape beforehand. Just put the wire where you want it as you go. And your stitches will hold it in place. And then it will be easy to put that wire right where you want it. And you can go around even some sharp corners. But what they tell you to do after you've got it couched around, you want to do a blanket stitch, real tight, real small, all the way around the edge. And then you want to start filling in. So that's what I'm going to do with my feathers. I'm going to lay one of them right here on this grass, and you can almost see how it would look if it's laying down here on the ground. Oops, I sure am out of frame, aren't I? Hold on just a second. I'm all cattywampus today. Now, if I think of anything else to add in here with the feather, I will do it. I wanted you to take a close look at this, what I think it looks like lavender. And I want to comment on this. Tell you what stitches this are. This is some more of that cast on stitch with some French knots mixed in with it wherever it was needed. I thought the two went together. Now the other day on my video I showed that cast on stitch and I said it right, but I did it wrong. So I just want to show you one more time, and all I'm going to do is use a little piece of fabric here because, let's see, I'm just going to show you what I did. There's a lot more tutorials online on YouTube that are far better than me. I'm no expert, but somebody on the Facebook group asked me what I did and what stitch I used. Let me see if I can find my disappearing pin. Yeah. So I'll explain it again and hopefully I'll do it right this time. Now, if you look here at my lavender, I just made little short sections in kind of a flare shape. That works well for flowers, I have found out. Get the right side of the canvas here. But what I learned with this cast on stitch is you think about, let's just go from scratch here. Let's say here's my stem for my lavender. And I want the top to be here and the bottom to be somewhere there. I want to, on a lavender, I assume the bigger little blossoms would look better at the bottom, the smaller ones at the top. So somewhere right here in the middle, let's say I want to put a pretty good size one. I want to have in my mind where the stitch starts and stops, and I want to keep in mind that it's going to flare like that because I want it to. I'm going to make it do that. I am going to crowd as many stitches in this area or cast-ons in this area as I can. And that way when I anchor it down, all that bulk will flare out, kind of like that. So let's try it. I'm going to bring the camera as close as my little camera will allow me. And hopefully I do it right this time. I said it right on camera, but I didn't do it right. So you go in and come out. I'm sorry, you go in from the back. See why I need watched? I need watched. All right. Well, Suzanne, it works better if you have a knot in it. Oh, it's been a hectic morning. You know what I've been doing is going through all my stuff from the thrift store haul yesterday. Found some wonderful things for stitching and journal making. I got out at that place for less than $26. So you come in, and now I'm going to go back in over here where I want the stitch, the other edge of the stitch to be, and come back up over here. Now I'm going to leave the needle right there. You leave your needle in the fabric. And now's a good time to say, the loops that I put on this needle will be as big as the needle. You can also put a double needle in there. And if you need something bigger, you can get a little piece of a straw and put over your needle to cast onto it. That's what I'm learning. It does work amazing. I did that with my yellow rose that I made. So the cast on stitch for me is easier to go this way. I use both fingers, and I'm just going to cast on, and I figure I'll need 10 or 12 cast-ons to get across the distance that I want it to go. And I learned also that as I'm casting on, I need to make sure that I'm pulling these little notches pretty firm, not too tight, but I don't want loops, and I don't want them to lay on top of each other. I made that mistake. So each time I cast on, then I pull the tension and make sure it's where I want it to be. And I am always watching the distance from here to here to the distance that I want to cover. And I want to try to squeeze as many on there as I can. Now I also want to explain, okay, that looks like enough. All right, on one side of your needle, you're going to have these row of little knots where you've cast it on, just on one side. On the other side is just the loops. I want the knots to be on the flare side. And you can see right now they're not. They're up here, and I want them over here. So while I have this still on the needle, I'm just going to turn the whole thing with my finger. And then I'm going to, whoops, I lost a loop, and I'm not going to try to replace it. I'm going to hold that between my fingers, push the needle through, go slowly, is that more correct? And then as it comes down, just like a bullion knot, I'm going to tighten it up. I heard one person say people think they can't do the bullion knot because they stop too soon. You can work it into place. And the same thing is true with this one. So I have quite a lot of stitches on there, and I can see that I can get it to flare out just like that. So what I'm going to do is find the spot closest to where I came up on this end and go back down. And what I found was necessary for what I was doing, I need to anchor that in place. So I can either come up from the back side down here in one of these little knot sections and just put a tacking stitch sort of. And I found it didn't even show really, because that's the side with all the knots on it anyway. And I found it, just pull it gently. It doesn't have to be super tight. So that little supposedly row of lavender blossoms will lay right where you want it to. And that's how I've been doing these stitches for some other flowers I did, as well as these lavenders. So I love that stitch, and that's what this project is all about. It's all about learning something new. Of course, you know this is nothing but a lazy daisy stitch. Actually, it's a form of a chain stitch. I hate doing that stitch. I don't like it. But I wanted daisies, so I did it. They're not perfect, but they're kind of cute. They go together. All right, so this is my stump work leaf that I'm working on. The next time you see this, this will be done, and this journal cover. And I got so waylaid with this project that I haven't even yet started on my March, which is butterfly. Oh my gosh. Now I do have an idea, thank goodness. At least I don't have to wait for an idea to come. But I want to do a certain butterfly that is very meaningful for me. And darn it, it's a complicated one. So I'm not sure how I'm going to approach that. But here's my little journal cover in progress. And this is going to be the little added touch. The bird feathers laying on the ground because, of course, we have a bluebird on the front. All right, I hope that helped and give you some ideas. And I hope you're doing this Journal of Stitchery, hosted by Rachel and Sarah and their mother, Juju. We can't forget her. She's a great inspiration. All right, come back soon, and I'll see you in a couple days before the weekend for sure. Bye for now. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or learned anything or got inspired. Thanks a lot.